Now take your lower radiator housing and take your radiator mesh, and we're just going to test fit, and you'll notice the way that bows in that way, and you've taken the paint off there. Now if you look closely, you'll notice that you've got a bit of a rib along here. Now this radiator mesh needs to be sitting on the outside of that, like so that it actually goes up against the edge like so, and you'll notice the areas that you've removed the paint will be touching the back side of there. So just test that like so, and then take your stay, and you'll notice as well the way that this goes in, which is not easy to see, but I'll try and make it as simple as I can once I've got it in there. Look closely at the pictures as well. Just have to bear with me for a moment while I do this, because it's not easy. Get some tweezers, place that into position like so. So as you can see, that's just test fitted, that's into position. Alright, and you've obviously got the mould sticking out the back that faces the back, so that all sits in there nicely. Now I'm going to glue that into position. Alright, and with that we're going to be using some of the ABS adhesive, and very simply you're going to dip your brush in, and we're just going to pop a drop on there, and the capillary reaction of that will literally drag down into the joins and bond the ABS plastic. Okay, so once you've done that, that's all nicely into position. You might want to just add a little bit more, just gently. Any excess will evaporate. A little bit along the bottom as well. Okay, and there you go, that's that part done. Next we're going to be taking the battery assembly that we did earlier, so just test fit that, and you'll notice that that will sit in that position. Okay, so once again, get the ABS glue, tiny little dab on there, that will hold that, and then just a little bit more down the side until that holds that. And then once you've done that, we're going to be fitting the top section of the inlet housing like so. So just double check, make sure that everything fits into position nicely. Get your ABS glue ready, tiny little dab on the joins on the inside edges there, and like I said, the capillary reaction of this will run along the seam. Do one end, make sure the other end's ready. Once again, tiny little drop in there, tiny little drop on the bottoms if we turn it upside down on these edges, and then that's that done. So put that aside to dry until we come back for the next stage. Next we're going to be fitting the left radiator part, so take your two left radiator inlet and outlet pipes, and notice the long one is going to be going to the top in the long groove here, and the short one into the smaller one. So once again I'm using the plastic weld here, and I'm just going to put a little piece in there just to allow that to grab. Take your smaller of your two inlet valves, the pipes, put that in there, grabs, and get your plastic weld, just drop a little bit in there into that joint, hold it there for a few seconds, and that's now bonded. Once again, with the larger of the two, put that into position like so, and then we give you plastic weld, drop a small piece into the joint to hold that, tiny little bit. I know it's difficult to see, but like I said, this is like water, so the capillary action of it, sort of small brush, all you do is just dab the joint gently, and that will run along, any excess will evaporate, and as you can see, that's now bonded those two parts. Once that's dried, you can just test fit the part by taking your valve, taking the radiator, and just gently sliding that into position like so, so that you can see how that fits. Now, next we're going to be fitting the monocoque side panel to the monocoque. So take the part, notice the little bridge there, and if you look closely at the monocoque, you'll also notice there's a little groove taken out here. Now, with the actual curved section facing down, just marry that up into position, push it all the way up so that you notice how that sits, and then with a pencil just gently go around the edge just to mark it off as it shows in the picture, and then we're going to be just gently removing some of the paint from the monocoque within that area, so that when we glue that down, that bonds nicely into position. So once again, once you've done that, you marked it off, you've removed some of the paint and from the edge, slide that into position like so, making sure that that's in the right position, and then you can either use a small amount of glue, plastic glue, to add to the back of this area, holding it into position, or once again I'm using the EMA weld, and I'm just dropping a tiny little bit along that edge, and the capillary action will go underneath, and once again that's glued that into position. Once that's held, take a little bit more, drop that into the edge like so, just gently push down, and that's that part done.